It's Reverend Deanna Cox here with DKR United, United Church Ministers serving the physical communities of Daysland, Killam and Rosalind, and this online community of DKR United. Are you ready? This week I've chosen to look at the gospel reading from Matthew 25, 1 to 13. And it's a parable story about 10 bridesmaids that are getting ready to meet the bridegroom. So the idea of your life partner is out there. Are you ready? And so some of them are ready, even with extra oil for their lamps, ready to wait as long as it takes so that they're ready to go when their partner shows up. And some of them thought they were ready, and it took a little longer than they anticipated, and so they were running out of oil for their lamps. And so it's our pondering of how to interpret this passage for our lives today. And so one of the suggestions suggested to talk about how do we get ready for an event, or like whether it's a picture day or somebody's birthday party. So I invite us to start thinking about all those things that we do to start to get ready. And to think about, is it a fast process? Are you jump up and put on the first thing and out the door you are? Or are you the kind that it takes, like you have to get up like an hour to 2 hours ahead of time, and you have this whole ritual and process that you need to go through? How do you get ready for something? And just your everyday life, and how do you get ready for something special to happen? And it's kind of interesting to have this passage come up in this time of year for us, especially in the northern climate that we live in, because, I think about all the people that have been recently talking about getting ready for winter. And this is almost mid-November, if you can believe it. And I, last night, just did the edging of my lawn so that it's easier to shovel in the winter. And so, I think of all the people, all the things that we do to get ready for winter here, like winterizing any sort of camper or cabin or something like that, and winter tires. Do you have yours on yet? That kind of thing. Switching around wardrobe, people do. And some have this long list of preparedness, and others, like me, I tend to be more of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of person, which drives some people nuts. But it also means I just kind of go with what happens. The first snow falls, yes, I am one of those that does not have my winter tires on yet, but I'm also not super panicking. I'm not the one that is phoning the tire shop repeat every 3 seconds to get my car booked. I know that was my choice to not be prepared, and so I will deal with the consequences. So we have this story of the bridegrooms, which is sort of about end times. Early Christians were absolutely certain that Christ was going to return to earth in their lifetime. And so they were talking about how you needed to be ready for that. And so for the longest time, that's how we've heard this passage, is that we need to be ready for Christ's return. Okay, so what does that mean? How do we get ready for that? Does it mean that we sit in prayerful meditation for hours every day? Does it mean we eliminate our friend circle with, and only nurture those relationships that believe the exact same as we do? Or does it mean that we say yes to many things, even things that would challenge and disrupt our belief system? What does it mean to be ready for Christ's return? And the other question, so I think of our other kind of doomsday predictions that have come up. Like, do you remember Y2K and our fascination with how the world was going to fall into utter chaos because the computers would not be able to handle switching from 19 blank blank, because that's how they were all programmed, right? You type in the last 2 digits. So when it switched over to 2000 to 0 blank blank, we thought that the computers would not be able to manage that at all. And I know I changed my New Year's plan because of that. Not because I was scared of the world crashing, but more because I was scared of other people's response to that fear. And it turned out nothing happened. So what kind of preparedness were we engaged in, and nothing happened? And so what is our fascination with being prepared? Because there are people that get hooked into things, those predictions, those doomsday predictions, and they are like collecting or hoarding food stocks and storage, like, so that, you know, they're ready for anything. They could, like, there's people that have even built bunkers to be ready. And so I'm not dissing that at all. I'm just saying, like, there's that level of preparedness. And there's then there's people that are consumed, absolutely consumed, by anxiety about uncertainty of what might be coming. And so that's another, like, they literally cannot handle the unknown, because that just consumes their whole being with how they would need to be prepared, and there's no way to prepare for every contingency, so they are stuck. I also know, I remember with our kids, as they reached like grade 8 or 9, conversation started coming about, so what do you want to do with your life? What kind of courses, what kind of thing in high school should you be taking so that you are ready for the rest of your life? And I remember our kids, like, that kind of the deer in the headlights look of, what do you mean I need to know what I'm doing for the rest of my life? And they're like 13 and 14 years old in that kind of area. And these are the things that we're asking them. Are you prepared for the rest of your life? Or how are you going to prepare? It's like they need to know. And God forbid they change their mind. So it's the pressure that we put on ourselves and on others to be prepared at a certain level is immense. And just kind of asking ourselves why we do that. I was listening to a video that was talking about releasing us from our dependency on our phones, as I do a live video on Facebook, which most of you, I'm sure, watch on your phones. But anyway, one of the questions she said, I go by 3 questions, WWW. What for? Why now? And what else? So her thing is, what am I picking up my phone for or going online for? And is there a legitimate reason for that? Or am I just like, am I feeling lonely and I'm going to the phone or something for to, you know, make me feel better? Or, and so then what for? Why now? Okay, is this a time-sensitive thing that we need to do right now? Or is it something that I could do in a more appropriate time? Okay, and the what else is, what else could I do at this time? If the first two answers aren't pertinent to kind of using your phone immediately, what else could I do to, like if I'm lonely, what else could I do to make me not feel lonely? And so I kind of think of those not just as reasons to set our phones down and engage in person-to-person contact, but also questions that we can ask ourselves about, are we prepared? You know, well, what are we preparing for? You know, why now? And what else could we be doing? I think those are good questions to just be asking ourselves all the time, let alone about how we use our devices. Because I think that far too often we place too much emphasis on being fully prepared, whatever that is. And don't get me wrong, I fully want us, and like especially my kids, I want them to think through any major life decision. But are we ever fully prepared for the lived reality of being married, having kids, living an adult as an adult in our lives? Are we fully prepared for the ramifications of buying our first home? And the answer probably is no. We're never going to be fully prepared. Just like, you know, the coming of Christ again, we probably would never be fully prepared in the way that we might think we need to be. And sometimes that pressure of being fully prepared, like I talked about, sometimes that pressure stops us from taking advantage of opportunities that get presented. We can spend so much time waiting for the conditions to be just right, that we never take that step. And so that is the thing that I want to leave us with. And with our preparedness, like to think, so one of the materials suggested that maybe it is an attempt to confront our own mortality, and that we're not ready for that. And so we prepare for things. I don't know, it's a thought that you can ponder on. And as we talk about preparedness, you might see behind me this massive pile of blankets. Like I said, we live in a northern climate, and so these are, they're not even all of them. There's more in our sanctuary that are spread out for folks to see. These are a small portion of the blankets that people in our community, not even all affiliated with our communities of faith, but people in our broader community put together, and they go up to Edmonton to the homeless to keep them warm in our winter. And we also share some locally as the need arises. So, you know, we do a lot of local things. And last Sunday, we also blessed some prayer shawls that go out to keep people that are going through things, to keep their spirits warm, to remind them that whatever life's journey is, they are not going through it alone. And so this is some of preparedness. Are they meticulous, perfect? Maybe not. Are they warm? Are they filled with love? Are they responding to needs? Absolutely. And so I invite us to think about how we can be ready to respond to the opportunities that God and life put before us without the compulsion to be perfectly prepared. So thanks for tuning in. I see some actual faces connecting live, so that's fun. That's great. Awesome. Thank you so much, and I hope you have enjoyed this midweek reflection on being prepared. Again, the passage, if you want to read it for yourself and ponder it as I have, it is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verses 1 to 13. The tale of the 10 bridesmaids. So take care, everyone. God bless you, and may you be ready for all the opportunities this day and this week and this lifetime presents. God bless. Bye.